Today, we're talking about identity crisis. Every chance we get, we're also learning and growing. And in that, we learn who we really are. So, most times we hear identity crisis as a bad thing. It becomes a crisis when you refuse to look at who you truly are so you know what you need to get. Most times, we simply are learning who we are. It all starts with the mindset. Okay, so how you see things determines how you see yourself. If your outlook is negative, if your outlook is harsh, aggressive, then likely you are harsh, aggressive, and negative to yourself. Your mindset is the one singular thing that you can control 100% by choosing what you're going to give energy and what you're choosing not to give energy. When we begin to think inward, we have to do two things with our mindset. We have to discover what we like, what we appreciate about ourselves, and we have to see how we can fit in this thing called the world. Our mindset will govern our actions, our spiritual walk, and it allows us to see each experience differently. It boils down to how you see things. Most folks like to classify themselves between an optimistic person or a pessimistic person. And I would rather us take a look at it as what is designed for me and what's not designed for me. Because if something's rubbing you the wrong way, you're going to be a pessimist about it, right? If something's rubbing you the right way or a good way, you're going to feel very positive about that. But if we shift that equation to say, if I feel negative about it, it may be the first indication that I'm not supposed to be involved here, or this is not aligned with my purpose. This doesn't support my spiritual walk. That is where the feelings of negativity come in. The mistake with that is we'll choose to indulge either from peer pressure, lacking confidence in ourselves, or because we don't know who we are, we will attach ourselves to things that's not beneficial for us. Simple. And when we feel things positive, it feels good to us. But there is the trick. Sometimes things that feel good to us is actually feeding things that aren't good in us. So if you have an addiction, feeding that addiction is going to feel good for you, but may not necessarily be good for your mental, spiritual, and physical walk. And so your mindset kicks into gear to say, I know who I am, I know what I've called to be, and this doesn't fit, even though it feels good. The same can be said about negative. Sometimes we don't like to approach things that don't feel good, but is necessarily required. It is absolutely required for us to do those things. For instance, if you are shy, you may have stage fright, but you want to be a motivational speaker. So you have to keep speaking over and over again to overcome that fear versus run. Your mindset kicks in to tell you, this is what I'm called to do, this is what I'm going to do, and this is why I am here. Your mindset governs how you see everything around you. Now, this is the key thing that you must understand when it comes to identity, knowing who you are. We have to get out of being afraid of failure and hurt. Y'all, I'm still working at it, so I tell you when I get it, packed down. But I can give you these things that will help. Failure and hurt are not designed, it's not even strong enough to hurt you, to kill you, to take you out. Failure doesn't feel good. It is what you do outside of that that shows exactly what we need to do and how we focus on overcoming the failure. So when you fail, getting your feelings, I get it, can't stay there, right? Begin to think, how do I get over on this? How do I step over on it? How do I make sure that I nail it this time? So failure, it's inevitable that we're going to deal with failure, right? But we can't be afraid of failure. So while it doesn't feel good, it's absolutely necessary. How else we learn if sometimes we don't fail? And here's something else. Sometimes God shows up in the failure. I can think of scenario after scenario in my life where I did not meet the mark, I fell below, and God stepped in and showed me who he was. Now I understand what mercy feels like, what grace feels like, what goodness feels like. So if I'm running from everything that hurts and everything that I failed at, I'll never truly appreciate when good things come my way, when blessings come my way. So stop running from failure, own it, deal with it, get better, and just simply move over. Because emotions. Our emotions is the singular thing that can stop us dead in our tracks regardless of mindset. Let me tell you why. Emotions can have moments of being stronger than your mindset. That's why we need self-control. You can know and be a positive person and have a good outlook on life, but that particular scenario that pulled you out of your character hurt so badly, or it crushed your ego so badly that you missed to apply your mindset to that situation, and now your emotions have taken over. That can happen to any of us. So your emotions are not meant to be permanent residents in your brain. They're just transient. So when you feel an emotion, acknowledge the emotion. That's the problem. We're so quick to say, I'm not supposed to have emotions. I'm not supposed to feel emotions. Oh, you all in your emotions. That is actually very toxic to your body and to your psyche. If you are feeling something and you don't acknowledge it so you can address it, right? I hear sometimes you hear folks try to break down how they feel but make excuses for it. I'm upset. Well, really, I'm not that upset. I'm kind of just irritated. No, you're mad and you're upset. And that's perfectly okay. Now, what do you do now? If you're still trying to find the right word so you feel good about you just being mad, then you're missing time that you can simply identify that you're upset and move on, right? And when you do that, you open up all the room for you to not only move on, but now you can focus on your strengths. And you have to apply your strengths to your life, and that will fortify who you are. If you don't know where you're strong at and don't know where you're weak at, you can't possibly begin to maximize you. You are your best asset. You matter, right? You got to trust you. And if you're still trying to find ways not to identify with you, you'll never know who you are. And let me tell you about that. If you surround yourself with people who are really ambitious, you'll try to mimic them and realize you're on the wrong race. They're in Porsches and you are on a go-kart. And you're trying to keep up and it's not going to happen. Find your own lane by identifying all the things that makes you, including the things that's not so good.